All right, significant figures practice. The expectation is that you have gone through this and attempted it, and you are just checking your answers. So I'm going to go through quickly and explain them. So you should already know. So fast forward to wherever you have a question, or just fast forward to the end of each section and check your answers. So first section, underline the significant figures, cross out non-significant. So first one's done for you, 10,600. The 1, the 0, and 6 are significant. Those are not, so they're crossed out. Number in scientific notation, the numbers in the coefficient are always your significant figures. The rest are not significant. 200 with the decimal point, all are significant because of the decimal point. 0.00705, the leading zeros are not significant, but the 705 are. The zeros are sandwiched in there. 456.0, that last zero is significant because it is after the decimal point and at the end of the number. 300,000, just the 3 is significant because there's no 0 to tell us those are not rounded numbers. We must assume they are. 0.00349, leading zeros are not significant. The 349 are. Leading zeros are not significant. The 980 are. The 0 is significant because it's at the end of the number and after the decimal. 0.324, the zeros leading does not count, but the 324 are significant. 30.20, those are all significant. Those zeros are sandwiched in between non-zeros, so that's why they are significant. 100.30 are all significant. The zeros because they're sandwiched between the 1 and the 3. That 0 at the end because it's at the end of the number and after the decimal point. 32.2, no zeros, all significant. 40,050, the 4005 is significant. The zeros because they're between the 4 and the 5. That 0 at the end is not because we have to assume it's rounded because there's no decimal point being shown. 65.060, all significant. The 0 because it's sandwiched between non-zeros, and the 0 at the end because it's at the end of the number and after the decimal. Scientific notation, the numbers of the coefficient are significant figures, the rest of it are not. That's section 1. Section 2, the calculation is done for you. So 1003.4 divided by 3.2 gives us 3.13.5625, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, rule number 7, how many significant figures do our original numbers have? So 1003.4 has 5 significant figures. 3.2 has 2 significant figures. What number is smaller? 2. So our answer should have 2 significant figures. So we need to take what the calculator gives us and round it to 2 sig figs. So looking at our answers here, this has 3 sig figs, that has 3 sig figs, that has 1 sig fig, this has 2, and this has 2. So I automatically know those are not options because they do not have the correct number of significant figures. So look at 310 and 320. Which one is the correct rounding of that number right there, 313? Well, the 3 and the 1, the 3 does not round the 1 up, so it's going to be 310. Okay. Next one, 2,900 multiplied by 3.15. This has 2 sig figs. This has 3 sig figs. So my answer should have the smaller number. So my answer should have 2 significant figures. 9,135. So the 9,100, I'm focusing on that. The answer is not 91. Though this has 2 significant figures, the number 91 and the number 9,135 are not similar. All right, this has 2 significant figures, this has 2 significant figures, that has 4, and this one has 3. So we know it can't be this and we know it can't be that one because there's the wrong number of significant figures. So it has to be either 9,100, 9,200, round that 3 rounds to the 1, so 9,100. Next, 430, which has 2 significant figures, divided by 1.2, which has 2 significant figures. So our answer needs to have 2 significant figures. So you take this monstrous number, 358.33333, round it to just 2 significant figures. Rounding it here, that is the correct rounding, but that has 4 significant figures, so it can't be that one. 358 has 3 significant figures, so it can't be that. 359 is improper rounding, and it's the wrong significant figures. 360 has 2 significant figures. 360 with a decimal point has 3 significant figures. So, there it is. No decimal point. 2 significant figures. Next, 1003.4 multiplied by 3.210. This has 5 significant figures. This number has 4 significant figures. So our answer needs to have the smaller of the 2, which is 4. Our answer needs to have 4 significant figures. 3,220.194, okay? So look at our possible options. This has 1 sig fig, this has 4 sig figs, this has 3 sig figs, this has 4 sig figs, and this has 5 sig figs. All right, so it needs to have 4, so it can't be that one, it can't be that one, and it can't be that one. So does this number round to 3,220 with a decimal point, or does it round to 3,221? Well, the 9 will round that 0 up to a 1. There you go. All right, 200 with a decimal point multiplied by 3.15. This has 3 significant figures. This has 3 significant figures. The calculator gave us an answer with only 2. Our answer needs to have 3 significant figures. But this number, 630, only has 2 significant figures. So is the answer 63? No. 630 with a decimal point has 3 significant figures. That's our answer. This one only has 2 sig figs. This one has 4 sig figs. And 6.3 has 2 sig figs. So it's not that one, not that one, not that one, because it needs 3 significant figures. Make sure that decimal point, sometimes you have to add it into what the calculator gives you. All right, working out these numbers, punch these into the calculator. 23.30 multiplied by 3.1. The calculator is going to say 72.23. All right, so significant figures, this one has 4, this one has 2. Our answer needs to have 2. Round this to 2 significant figures. It's 72. 23.30 divided by 3.31. The calculator says 7.5161. Okay, so significant figures, this one has 4, this one has 2. Our answer needs to have 2 significant figures. So I'm looking at the 7 and the 5. The 1 will not affect rounding, so it's going to be 7.5. Here we have 920 multiplied by 301. Punch that into the calculator. Your calculator will say 276,920. All right, this has 2 significant figures. This one has 3 significant figures. 2 is the smaller one, so our answer needs to have 2 significant figures. So I'm looking at the 2 and the 8, the 2 and the 7. The 6 is going to round that 2 up to an 8, but 28 is nowhere near 276,000, so I need to fill in with zeros. 280,000. Take 920 divided by 301. The calculator is going to say 3.05647. And significant figures, this has 2, this one has 3, so our answer needs 2 significant figures. So 3.1, because that 5 is going to make that 0 round up to 1. 981 multiplied by 3.22. 3,158.82 is what our calculator says. This has 4 significant figures. This has 3, so our answer needs to have 3 significant figures. So round this to 3 significant figures. So 3,158.82. I'm going to look at the first 3 digits. Okay? I'm going to look at that 8, the 4th digit. That 8 is going to round the 5 up to a 6. But 316 is nowhere near 3,158. So I need to add a 0 in to now have it 3,160, which is very close to 3,158. That 0 is not significant because there's no decimal point showing. Okay? 981 multiplied by 322. Calculator says 304 divided by 304.658. This has 4 sig figs. This has 3. Our answer needs to have 3 sig figs. So 3 to the 4. The 6 is going to make the 4 round up to a 5, so you end up with 305. For the back side of this worksheet, I am simplifying this, and I've pre-written in what the calculator says in all of these, because you're supposed to just be checking your answers. So we're going to just analyze these one at a time, looking at the correct sig figs. So go back to your original numbers. This has 3 significant figures. This one has 2. Our answer should have 2 significant figures, the smaller those numbers. So round this to has 2 significant figures. The zeros in front are not significant figures, but they are necessary for placeholding. So that is going to be 5. That 8 is going to be rounded up to a 9. All right, this has 2 sig figs. This has 2 sig figs, so our answer should have 2 sig figs. The 2 and the 1. The one after that's not going to round up, so our answer is just 21. All right, here we have 4 sig figs. This has 3 sig figs. The smaller is the 3. So 3 significant figures, I'm looking at the 3, the 3, the 4. The 2 is not going to round up, so 3, 3, 4, and then replace those with zeros so that we maintain that 334,000. Here we have 3 significant figures. This one has 4 significant figures, sorry. 4 significant figures. 3 is the smaller number. So the 7, the 4, and that 0. The 8 is going to round that 0 up to a 1, so 74.1. All right, this number has 4 significant figures. This number has 3 significant figures, so our answer should have 3 significant figures. So the 3, the 2, and the 5, the zeros stay as they are. Okay, so 3,250,000. This number has 4 significant figures. This number has 3 significant figures, so our answer should have 3 significant figures, the 1, the 4, and the 5. The next 5 is going to round that one up to a 6, so 146. But it's not 146 because these are zeros, so these are replaced by zeros to hold or place of 14,600, which is close to 14,555. Okay, 90,040. There we go. So this has 3 significant figures. This has 3 significant figures. So our answer needs 3 significant figures. So the 2, 5, and the 3. 25.3. The 3 is not rounded up because the 2's. This has 4 significant figures. This has 2 significant figures. So our answer needs to have 2 significant figures, the 3 and the 6. So 3, 6, and then this is 3,600. We need to hold those spaces. This number has 3 significant figures. This one has 3 significant figures. So our answer needs 3 significant figures. 2, 6, 2. The 1 is not going to round the 2 up, so you end up with 0.262. This one has 2 significant figures. This one has 2 significant figures. So our answer needs to have 2 significant figures. 0.0000253. The 2 and the 5. The 3 is not going to round it up, but you do need those zeros in there to hold their places. 2, 5. Okay. Next, this one has 4 significant figures. This one has 2 significant figures. So our answer needs 2. The 9, the 0. The 7 is going to round that 0 up to a 1. So 9.1. This number has 3 sig figs. This has 3 sig figs. So our answer needs to have 3 sig figs. But the calculator only gave us an answer with 2, 16. You need to input a 0 after the decimal point to give it 3 significant figures. This number has 3 sig figs. This one has 2 sig figs. Our answer needs to have 2. So the first 2 ones there, 1, 1. The rest of those digits before the decimal need to be replaced by zeros. So that's 111,000 needs to become 110,000. Okay, make sure that rounds similar size. This number has 4 sig figs. This has 2 sig figs. Our answer should have 2, 1, 0, 1, 1. Those are 2 first digits, 110. This has 4 significant figures. This has 2 significant figures. Our answer should have 2. So the 2, the 8. That 8 is going to round that up down to 9. So it's not 29, but 29,000. We need to hold those spaces. Okay, this one has 4 significant figures. This has 2 significant figures. Our answer needs to have 2, 3, and the 4. So 3,400. This one has 4 significant figures. This one has 3 significant figures. So our answer needs to have 3, 3, 1, and 8. The 4 is not going to round it up, so we have 3, 1, 8. But we need that a 0 there to hold the place, so it's still 3,000, not just 300. And this has 3 sig figs. This has 3 sig figs, so our answer needs to have 3 sig figs. The 1, 8, 3. 2 does not round, so we have 1.83. There you go.